Hello and welcome students. In the last video lecture, I had explained you the specimen of various accounts of final accounts of partnership, that is trading account, P&L account, P&L appropriation account, partners capital account, partners current account and balance sheet. Now, after understanding the specimen of various accounts and balance sheet for the preparation of final accounts of partnership firm, let us understand what adjustment effect would be there that would be given to you in the question at the end of the trial balance. So here the adjustments together with their effect in annual accounts that is given to you. So let's have a glance. Total there are 33 entries, adjustment entries effect that has been given to you in your textbook. So just refer the textbook together with this video lecture. Starting with the first adjustment, that is of closing stock. Now students in 11th standard also, we are knowing almost few of the entries would be similar as that of the final accounts of sole proprietorship firm. So closing stock, you are knowing very well that credit side of trading account we were writing the last entry. So same effect, that is closing stock account debit to trading account credit. And the two effect, already we discussed that adjustment will be having two effect, one debit and another credit. So while doing the adjustment effect, see that both the entries you give it together so that you don't forget at the end of the solution or telling of the sum. Now the first effect of closing stock that we had already told, that is credit side of trading account, and the second effect, that is asset side of balance sheet. So one effect credit effect and asset side means debit effect. Now the second one, that is outstanding expense. Outstanding expense, already we discussed that it is a liability for the firm. So respective expense account debit to outstanding expense account credit. Okay, suppose it's salary, so it would be salary account debit to outstanding salary account credit. Okay, so outstanding expense, that's why it is one kind of expense that in later time we have to pay. So at present it would be considered as an expense and it would be recorded on the debit side of P&L account, debit side of trading and P&L account, add it to respective expense. Suppose salary of 11 months it has been paid and for 1 month salary is outstanding, so we have to add that salary of outstanding amount to the actual salary that has been paid on the debit side of P&L account, and the second effect that would be on the liability side of balance sheet. Now the third one, that is prepaid expense. Just as outstanding expense, in the same way, if the expense which has to be paid in the next year and that we have paid in advance, then it is called prepaid expense. So it is one kind of assets for us because in later time we don't have to make that payment. Okay, so the adjustment effect, that would be prepaid expense account debit to respective expense account credit, opposite of outstanding expense. Okay, so first effect that would be asset side of balance sheet, and the second effect that would be debit side of trading or P&L account deducted from respective expense. Just as outstanding expense that you were adding, in the same way prepaid expense that you will be deducting from the concerned expense on the debit side of P&L account, because that expense is not related to the current year, that is of the next year that you have paid in advance. Okay, so in the current year P&L account you have to deduct it from the concerned expense, and it is considered as an asset for the firm because next year when that amount gets due of the expense, you don't have to make that payment. Okay, so next one, that is receivable income. Receivable income account debit to respective income account credit. Receivable income means the income which has not been received at present, but at later date you will be receiving that amount of income. So it would be profit or gain for the firm because in later time you'll receive that income, so will be recorded on the credit side of P&L account. It would be added to the respective income. Suppose commission received, that is of 10 months and 2 months is outstanding, so that becomes receivable income, so that 2 months would be added on the credit side of P&L account in commission. And the second effect, that is would be an asset because in later date you'll receive that much amount of income, so it would be considered as asset side of balance sheet. Next one, that is fifth one, income received in advance. Same way as prepaid expense, you have made the expense in advance. In the same way, you have received the income in advance. Any income which is to be received in the next year, but in the current year you have received that income, then it is called income received in advance. The journal entry that would be respective income account debit to income received in advance account credit. Now income received in advance, so first effect that would be liability side of balance sheet, and you have to deduct it from the income on the credit side of P&L account, because that income is not of the current year. That's why it is to be deducted from the respective income of current year in the credit side of P&L account. Next one, that is depreciation on assets. Any kind of depreciation is one kind of expense because it reduces the value of asset. So it will be recorded on the debit side of P&L account. And the second effect that we are doing, that is on asset side, from the concerned asset we are subtracting the amount of depreciation. So journal entry or adjustment entry, that would be depreciation account debit to respective assets account credit. So one effect already we are told, that is debit side of P&L account as an expense, and second one, that is to subtract from the concerned asset on the asset side of balance sheet. Next one, that is bad debts written off. Now in bracket it is given to you new or additional. It means whatever the bad debts or bad debt reserve that would be given to you in the trial balance, that would be considered as old, that is of the trial balance, that you will be having only one effect. But whatever the bad debts or bad debt reserve that is given to you in the adjustment, that would be having two effect. Okay, so first effect, first of all let us see the journal entry or the adjustment entry, that is bad debts account debit to debtors account credit. It is one kind of loss for the firm. Okay, so it will be recorded on the debit side of P&L account. You have to add in the old bad debts that is given to you in the trial balance. We have already discussed the format of it, that is bad debts old, that is of trial balance, plus bad debts of adjustment, plus bad debt reserve of adjustment, minus bad debt reserve of trial balance. Okay, so according to that you have to add in the old bad debts in the debit side of P&L account, and the second effect that would be to subtract from the debtors on the asset side of balance sheet. Next one, that is bad debt reserve. We already discussed what is bad debts and what is bad debt reserve. Now what would be the effect of bad debt reserve? That will be also recorded on the debit side of P&L account. So the entry, it would be P&L account debit to bad debt reserve account credit. First effect, that is debit side of P&L account, and the second effect, that will be also subtracted from the debtors on the asset side of balance sheet. Now the ninth entry, that is discount reserve on debtors. Same thing as for bad debt reserve, same thing would be applied for discount reserve on debtors also. Same entry, that is P&L account debit to discount reserve on debtors account credit. One entry debit side of P&L account, and the second entry to subtract from the debtors on the asset side of balance sheet. Students, already we have understood that if in the question in the adjustment, if all the three, that is bad debts, bad debt reserve and discount reserve on debtors is given to you, then from the asset side or from the debtors, first of all you have to subtract bad debts. After subtracting bad debts, then you have to subtract the bad debt reserve, and then afterwards you have to deduct the discount reserve. So this order you have to maintain. Now after understanding the 9 entries, adjustment entries, let us understand the 10th adjustment entry. The 10th one that is given to you is for unrecorded credit purchase. If any of the purchase which is not recorded in the books of accounts, but ultimately that type of purchase or that much amount of purchase was already done, then what would be the adjustment effect for it? Okay, so entry would be, already we discussed that if it is a credit purchase, then creditor, if you have purchased the goods, then creditors would be there, debtor creditor relation would arise. So over here with purchase, always creditors would be there. So the journal entry that would be purchase account debit to creditors account credit. So the first entry that would be debit side of trading account, you have to add in the purchase, because previously that was not recorded in the books of accounts. Now that much amount of purchase is to be recorded, that's why it would be added in the purchase on the debit side of trading account. And the second effect, that is creditors would increase That's why on the liability side of balance sheet to add in the creditors as unrecorded credit purchase. In the same way, 11th adjustment, that is of unrecorded credit sales. So due to unrecorded credit sales, that much amount of sales was not shown. Now it is to be recorded in the books of accounts. So the journal entry, already we discussed that with the sales, debtors would be arised. So debtors account debit to sales account credit. So first entry, that would be on the asset side. In the debtors you will be adding it, and the second entry, that is on the credit side of trading account, in the sales you will be adding the amount of credit sales. Next, 12th journal entry, that is for unrecorded credit purchase return. Just as unrecorded credit purchase, in the same way unrecorded credit purchase return. So that you will be as you are adding the purchases, unrecorded credit purchase on the debit side of trading account, in the same way you have to subtract this much amount from the purchase. Okay, so journal entry, that would be to creditors account debit to purchase return account credit. Okay, purchase return, previously you had purchased that much amount, now you are returning that much amount of goods, so that much amount of creditors will be reduced. So you can see creditors account has been debited due to decrease in the amount of creditors. So liability side of balance sheet, deducted from creditors, because that much amount of creditors will be reduced. So first effect, that would be on the liability side, deduct from creditors, and the second effect, that would be on the debit side of trading account, deducted from purchase. Now students, on the liability side you are subtracting from creditors. Liability side, it means credit balance. On the credit side you are subtracting, it means you have given the debit effect, and on the debit side of trading account you are subtracting from the purchase. So debit side you are deducting from purchase, it means you have given credit effect. So one debit effect and one credit effect. Always you verify that of any of the adjustment you have given two effect, and that should be one debit and one other should always be credit. No two debit effect or no two credit effect you can give of any of the adjustment. Okay, so you can easily identify if you have done mistake by posting two debit effect or two credit effect. Okay, now after understanding the 12th adjustment, let us understand the 13th one, that is for unrecorded credit sales return. Same or opposite effect would be there as that of credit purchase return, that is sales return account debit to debtors account credit. Over here debtors would be reduced because whatever you have sold the goods, now that much amount of some amount out of the sold goods had been returned by that customer, so debtors would be reduced by that much amount of goods returned. Okay, so first effect, that would be credit side of trading account you will deduct from sales, and the second effect, that you will be subtracting from the debtors on the asset side of balance sheet. Then afterwards 14th one, that is purchase return recorded to sales book. It means mistake has been done. Whatever the purchase return it was there, that should be recorded in the purchase book. Instead of recording it purchase book, you have recorded by mistake it in sales book. So first you have to give the rectify entry, and then after you have to give the correct entry. So for rectification of the entry, that would be sales account debit to debtors account credit. So first effect, that would be credit side. So total 4 effects would be there of this adjustment. Okay, so first to rectify the mistake, 2 effect would be there, and then to give the correct effect you have to give another 2 effects. Okay, so the first effect you can see, that is sales account debit to debtors account credit. So credit side of trading account deducted from sales, because it was not sales but by mistake you recorded it in sales book, so you have to subtract from sales. And the second effect, if you are subtracting from sales, you have to subtract it from debtors also on the asset side of balance sheet. Now the correct effect is, that is purchase return. So creditors you have to deduct from the liability side of balance sheet, and the second effect, that is you have to deduct from the purchase on the debit side of trading account. So 4 effect you have to give. First 2 effect for the wrong effect that you have given, and the second 2 effect for the correct effect you have to give. Okay, so total 4 effects you will be giving for the this type of adjustment. Now 15th adjustment, that is opposite of the purchase return, that is sales return recorded to purchase book. Okay, So the journal entry, that would be creditors account debit to purchase account credit, because that was the wrong effect. By mistake you have posted it in purchase book. So entry wrong effect that you had given, that is creditors account debit to purchase account credit. It means you have to rectify that entry. To rectify that entry, you will subtract from creditors account and you will subtract from purchase book also. Okay, so you can see the two adjustment effect, that is liability side of balance sheet you will deduct it from creditors, and the second effect, that is trading account debit side, you will subtract from purchase also. Now the correct effect, that is sales return to debtors account. So sales return, that would be subtracted from the sales on the debit side of trading account, on the credit side of trading account, and the second effect, that would be asset side of balance sheet, you will deduct it from debtors. Okay, so this type of adjustment you will be having four effects to be given. Two effects for the wrong effect to rectify that mistake, and the two effects for giving the correct effect. Okay, now after understanding 15th adjustment, let us understand the 16th adjustment, that is given to you of credit purchase recorded to sales book. Just as credit purchase return, credit sales return, wrong effect was given, in the same way credit purchase recorded to sales book. Actually it was purchase transaction, but by mistake it is recorded in sales book. Okay, so first entry, that would be for rectification of the entry, that is sales account debit to debtors account credit. So sales, that much amount would be reduced. So first effect, that would be debit side of trading account, you will subtract from sales, and the second effect on the asset side of balance sheet from debtors also you will subtract. Always make it clear, if you are subtracting from sales, that much amount you have to deduct from debtors also. If you are adding in sales, then that much amount you have to add in debtors also. In the same way for creditors and purchase, if you are adding in purchase, that much amount you have to add in creditors. If you are subtracting from purchase, that much amount you have to subtract from creditors. Okay, so now the correct effect, it was credit purchase actually. So you will add in the purchase, and that much amount you will add on the creditors on the liability side of balance sheet. Next one, that is credit sales recorded to purchase book. So first effect, that would be wrong effect, that is you have recorded it in purchase book. Actually it was credit sales. Okay, so first effect, that is to rectify the mistake. So creditors account debit to purchase account credit. So you'll deduct it from the creditors, and the same amount you will deduct from the purchase also on the debit side of trading account. And to give the correct effect, that is the of the credit sales, so debtors account debit to sales account credit. So that much amount you will add in the asset side of balance sheet, and the same amount you will add on the credit side of trading account in sales. Okay, next 18th entry, that is of interest on capital. Interest on capital account debit to capital account credit. Generally in case of sole proprietorship firm, you were giving the effect of interest on capital or interest on drawings on the debit side of P&L account and credit side of P&L account. But over here in case of partnership firm, the effect of interest on capital and interest on drawings you will be giving in P&L appropriation account, because that transaction is related to the partners. So any of the transaction related to partners, that would be given effect in the P&L appropriation account in case of partnership firm. So you can see the first effect, that is debit side of P&L appropriation account, because that much amount of interest firm has to pay to the partner. So it is loss for the firm. Always we have to look from the point of view of the firm, not from the point of view of the partner. So first effect, that is debit side of P&L appropriation account, and the second one, that is liability would be increased, because together with the capital we have to pay the interest also on it. So liability will be increased, so you'll add on the liability side of balance sheet in the capital of that concerned partner. Next one, 19th one, that is interest on drawings. So drawings means you have withdrawn certain amount from the firm. So the company or the firm will charge interest on it. So it would be an income from the point of view of the firm. So drawings account debit to interest on drawings account credit. So first effect, that would be liability side of balance sheet. You are knowing it, from the capital we are subtracting the drawings. So in drawings, wherever we have written, we will add interest on drawings in the drawings amount. And the second effect, that would be it is an income for the firm. So credit side of P&L appropriation account. So make it clear, interest on capital and interest on drawings effect you will be giving on the P&L appropriation account, not in P&L account. Okay. Next one, that is salary to partners, that also will be giving effect in the P&L appropriation account only. So salary is one kind of expense for the firm because that is to be paid to the concerned partner. So partner salary account debit to partner's capital account credit. So one effect that would be debit side of P&L appropriation account, and the second effect, because that partner will be gaining that salary, so his capital account or current account, that will be credited by that much amount. Okay, so second effect, that would be credit side of partner's current or capital account. Then and afterwards, 21st adjustment, that is interest on credit balance of current account of partners. Interest on partners current account debit to partners current account credit. Credit balance, it means it is the one kind of gain or profit for the firm. So first effect, that would be it will be gain or profit for the partner, because a firm has taken the that much amount of balance the firm is having, so firm has to pay the interest on that credit balance of current account, so it will be loss or expense for the firm. So first effect, that would be debit side of P&L appropriation account, and second effect, that would be that much amount of interest the partner would be getting, so his partner's account, that would be credited. Okay. Next, such as interest on credit balance, same way interest on debit balance of current account. First effect, that would be debit side of partner's current account, because that much amount of interest the partner has to pay to the firm. And the second effect, that would be, it would be gain or income for the firm, so it would be recorded on the credit side of P&L appropriation account. Then afterwards, 23rd adjustment, that is outstanding interest on partner's loan. So that is the partner's loan. So we have to partner has taken the loan, so his amount of interest is outstanding. So the journal entry, that would be interest on loan account debit to outstanding interest on partner's loan account credit. So first effect, that would be, it is considered as an expense because it is outstanding liability. So first effect, that would be debit side of P&L account, and the liability would be increased because that interest is outstanding, that becomes our liability to pay in future. So second effect, that would be on the liability side of balance sheet, you will be adding in the concerned partner's loan. Okay, now after understanding 23 adjustment, let us move on with the 24th adjustment, that is related to transfer to general reserve. Any kind of reserve, that is general reserve, that is accumulated profit. So the first effect, that would be P&L adjustment entry, that would be P&L appropriation account debit to general reserve account credit. So first effect that you will be giving is on debit side of P&L appropriation account, and the second effect, that would be liability side of balance sheet, you will add in the general reserve. Already liability side of balance sheet, we are noting the reserves and capital reserves or any kind of reserve funds. So that in that reserve funds or in that general reserve, you will be adding this amount of general reserve. Okay, so first effect, that would be debit side of P&L appropriation account, not P&L account. Whatever the transfer to general reserve, first effect, that would be debit side of P&L appropriation account, and second effect, you will add in the general reserve on the liability side of balance sheet. 25th adjustment, that is commission payable to partners. So any kind of salary, commission or bonus that is payable to the partners, always it will be having effect in P&L appropriation account. Okay, so partners commission account debit to partners capital account credit. So first effect, that would be, it would be an expense for the firm because that much amount of commission firm has to pay to the concerned partner. So first effect, that would be debit side of P&L appropriation account, and the second effect, that is credit side of current or capital account of partners. Next one, that is interest on advanced loan. Loan has been advanced to any of the partner. Okay, so in that, loan has been advanced to any of the third party. Over here it has not been specified that is that the loan has been given to any of the partner. Okay, so we'll consider as the third party. So entry would be outstanding interest on loan account debit to interest on loan account credit, because that much amount of interest you will receive. You have given the loan to the third party, so amount of interest you will be receiving, so it would be your asset. So first effect, that would be asset side of balance sheet, and it would be your income or gain because that much of amount of interest firm will receive, so credit side of P&L account. Next, 27th, that is amortization of intangible assets like goodwill, patent, trademark, copyright, etc. So amortization means that much amount of suppose you have purchased any of the asset and you are not making the payment at the same time at the time of purchasing of that asset, but you are paying in different installments, repaying that amount in different installments. So that would be your expense year after year when you will make the stipulated payment. So that is called amortization of intangible assets. So that would be an expense or the loss for the firm. So the first effect, that would be debit side of P&L account, and the second effect on the asset side of balance sheet, you will deduct it from intangible assets. Suppose patent amount is there, you will write off that much amount of patent every year. So that much amount out of 50,000, suppose 10,000 you are writing off every year, so minus you have to deduct 10,000 from the patent on the asset side of balance sheet, and 10,000 you'll be showing on the debit side of P&L account. So every year you are writing off that much amount from the concerned intangible assets. Okay, so first effect, that would be on the debit side of P&L account, and the second effect, you will be subtracting from the concerned intangible asset on the asset side of balance sheet. Next one, that is 28th adjustment, that is unrecorded goods withdrawn for personal use. You have withdrawn the goods for personal use, so naturally it would be drawings, but that drawings you have not recorded, and now you are giving the effect of that adjustment. Okay, so due to unrecorded goods withdrawn for personal use, drawings would be increased. So drawings account debit to purchase account credit. Already in 11th standard we have discussed this type of journal entries, that if in any of the cases goods goes out other than purchase or sale of goods, suppose you have goods withdrawn for personal use, goods given as advertisements, goods given as donation or charity, or goods destroyed by fire, then in any of the situation always purchase account will be credited. Okay, so over here also same entry would be there, that is drawings account debit to purchase account credit, because due to that goods withdrawn for personal use, that much amount of goods will be reduced from your stock of goods. Okay, so indirect, you have not sold the goods, but that much amount of goods value will be reduced, so that would be deducted from the purchase. So opposite effect of purchase, that would be credit effect. Okay, so always in case of such entries in which the goods have been reduced from the stock of the goods other than purchase or sale of goods, then always purchase account will be credited. So the first effect, that would be liability side of balance sheet, you will add in the drawings because you have withdrawn for personal use, so drawings will be increased. And the second effect, that would be you have to deduct it from purchase on the debit side of trading account, because that much amount of goods will be reduced from the stock of goods. Okay, so you will reduce that much amount from the purchase on the debit side of trading account. Next one, that is goods issued for free sample. Again same entry, that is advertisement account debit and purchase account will be credited over here. First effect, that is advertisement is one kind of expense for the firm, so you will be considering as debit side of P&L account as an expense. And the second effect, you will deduct that much amount from the purchase on the debit side of trading account. Okay, then afterwards 30th entry, that is of stationery stock. Just as closing stock, we are giving two effect, that is credit side of trading account and asset side of balance sheet. Over here you will subtract that much amount from the stationery expense account. Suppose stationery expense account that is given to you of 5,000 and closing stock of stationery in adjustment that is given to you of 1,000. So stationery expense on P&L account debit side, you will write 5,000 in inner column and you will subtract minus 1,000, and outer column you will show 4,000 as an expense. Okay, and the second effect would be on the asset side of balance sheet. So you can see the two effect, that is first one asset side of balance sheet and the second one, that is debit side of P&L account, you will deduct from stationery expense. And afterwards 31st, writing of leasehold property. Just as you are writing off the intangible assets, in the same way any of the leasehold property, then it is one kind of expense. That much amount you are writing off, that would be considered as an expense for the current year, and same amount you will subtract from the concerned leasehold property. So first entry, adjustment entry, that would be profit and loss account debit to leasehold property account credit. So expense is there, so debit side of P&L account, and leasehold property amount, that much amount will be whatever you have written off, that you have to subtract from the concerned asset, and remaining amount you will be showing in the outer column. Next entry, that is 32nd, receivable interest, dividend on shares and other investment. If the firm has made the investment in any of the shares or debentures or any of the investment, if the firm has made, then interest would be receivable by the firm. So that is one kind of income or profit or gain for the firm. So receivable interest or dividend account debit to interest or dividend account credit. So one effect, that would be asset side of balance sheet, because in future you will receive that much amount of interest or dividend from the concerned company. And the second one, that is, it is an income, so credit side of P&L account. And then afterwards, next one, that is last entry, that is 33rd adjustment, that is personal assets introduced by partner. Just as while commencing the business, the partner may introduce the capital in the firm in the form of cash. In the same way, he is bringing his personal assets in the firm in the form of capital. Okay, so a partner's capital would be raised and assets would come in the firm, so assets balance would increase. So entry would be assets account debit to partners capital account credit. Due to personal assets brought in the firm, so asset side would be increased. So first entry, that would be, suppose he has brought furniture worth rupees 10,000 in the firm in the form of capital, then asset side of balance sheet you will show the value of furniture as rupees 10,000. And the second effect, that would be, you will add in the capital of the concerned partner on the liability side of balance sheet, because that much amount of liability of capital has been increased. And when the firm gets dissolved or at the end of the partnership firm, that much amount of capital, including the furniture amount, that you have to pay to that concerned partner. So indirectly the liability for the firm has been increased. So that's all for today, students. Today we have understood all the adjustment effect that are very important, and from the next video lecture we'll be starting the practical sums that are very important. Already we discussed the weightage of this chapter, that is 11 marks big question would be asked from this chapter. So do be attentive in the these video lectures. Till then, goodbye, keep practicing, stay blessed.